Welcome to episode 1 of the Interior Design Podcast. My name is Hayley Roy. I'm an interior designer, entrepreneur and owner of Harp Design. And my co-host is...
Hi, I'm Cheryl Sutton. I'm an interior and architectural designer, owner of Rebels Design, bit of a jack of all trades, maybe master of none.
Master of interior designer. Cheryl and I have been working together on and off for 6 years. Cheryl is one of my very few true friends in business. Excuse me for interrupting this little section. I just wanted to let you know the next part of the podcast, the sound isn't great. We rehearsed it a few times, and the first time we did it, the sound was echoey. But the content on this bit was the best one that we did because it was so raw. So we hope you enjoy it. Sorry about the sound. We have improved, and you won't be hearing this again, but we just needed you to hear this.
So obviously this is the first podcast that we're doing. So rather than kind of catching up on what our week has been like, we thought it'd just be easier if we kind of give you guys a bit of an understanding about who we are, tell you a bit about ourselves, how we got to to do what we're doing now, and hopefully you'll come to the conclusion that we're actually worth listening to. Hopefully.
So I'm going to ask Cheryl some questions.
I'm going first, am I?
Yeah, I can go first.
You go first.
Okay, go on, you ask me then.
Okay, right. So, tell me a little bit about your what led you into interior design and your kind of career. Where to start?
Okay, so I worked on yachts when I was 18, 21, super yachts, and I worked for Philip Green for my sins and his wife, Lady Tina Green. And Lady Green was really into interior design.
Yeah.
And we used to, I used to have to get involved with some of the interior design on the yacht, and I just loved it.
Do you think that kind of sparked your interest at that point? You were like...
Yeah, that's when I kind of came home and I helped a friend fit out their a flat that they'd been...
Yeah.
A new flat that they bought.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I was just in my element in IKEA, just buying throws and just organising things. And that was when I really knew that I wanted to go into interior design. And my dad has got a commercial interior fit out business, or he did have at the time. And I ended up working for him and got really into the interior design part of that. And kind of got dragged into it a little bit too much. And then when I decided that I didn't want to work for somebody else anymore and wanted to have my own business 10 years ago, I started up Harp.
Amazing.
So I've got a degree in business management, and I've done loads of little interior design courses, nothing really to write home about, but I read a lot, so I like to learn, and I like to learn from people as well. So hence why this podcast suits me, because I'm kind of tapping into all the people that I know, and I think people would like to hear from. We've got good charisma and stuff. So I'm excited.
Right. What do you? What's my next question? Right. What would you say is your biggest challenge you face as a designer? Obviously, you don't just do design, though, Hayley, do you?
No. So I do design and project management.
Okay.
And I do a little bit of web design and a bit of graphic design as well. So I'm
actually not just the only jack of all trades here, let's be honest. Yeah.
So I started off, I actually was a freelance graphic designer when I was 16.
Were you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Just kind of playing. Well, my dad taught me quite a lot when I was young because he was into computers and graphics and stuff. So
biggest challenge you face as either a designer, project manager, or just in the role that you do currently, in your career that you do now? Biggest challenge?
People. So whether it's contractors or clients, or there's always if there's no people, there'd be no work there. So but people's different personalities and clashing, and trying to keep people happy is, I suppose, one of my biggest challenges. If you work with more than one person, like if you work with a husband and wife team, or like two partners, and they've both got different ideas of what they want, and you're trying to keep those two people happy is a real challenge sometimes. You've got to try and kind of almost compromise. And sometimes if I'm in a house situation, I do feel a little bit like a marriage counsellor. But I love it, because in the end you always end up with a good result out of it in the end. And if you can make them both happy, and you know that's a challenge, that definitely has got it makes you feel good at the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question would be, what's been your favourite project so far that you've worked on, that you've been involved in?
I think it's got to be Zwire.
Okay, so tell us a bit about that.
Aaron and Alberto Zandi approached me, must be 5 years ago now. Aaron and Alberto were in their early 20s at the time, hadn't opened a restaurant before, and obviously had a bit of money from somewhere to invest, and they were doing it as a business. Both of them really sparky, really full on. Love working for Aaron and Alberto, because they are so full on. But they had this brilliant idea. We went to Spain. We went to a few restaurants that they liked in Spain, and kind of did a little recce out there. And then we came back and designed the restaurant. Oh my god, it's so good. And then we came back and designed the restaurant, and it was their first one, and it's just done so well. I mean, they've had they've been on telly with, I don't know, celebrities go dating, I think. And
that's why
I think so. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I should probably look at that. But yeah, and they've just done really well, and the food is amazing. So the whole experience of going in there is just lovely.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's not even about like your favourite project in terms of a design, like in terms of what you've created. Actually, you're saying that actually that's your favourite project because you've delivered on something for a client and that they have succeeded, and that's the feeling, that's the achievement, isn't it? That you can see how that has kind of catapulted them forward with other projects that they've opened since then.
Yeah, I'm a massive believer of like, you don't have, you can interior design a business, but you can't make that interior successful.
No,
that's a third.
Yeah,
if you're doing a hospitality business, for example, that's a third of what needs to happen.
Yeah,
a third is interior design. Another third is service, and another third is the food and the product that you're serving. So it's I can do the third, but I can't deliver the other bits. Absolutely. And when someone does that so well, the Forge Kitchen is a perfect example of that one as well. One of the ones that you did. Sorry.
Oh, maybe that's on my favourite project. So that's up there for sure.
Ask your questions now.
Yeah, go.
Tell me about your career and what led you into interior design.
So I started out when I kind of left college. I was always kind of arty anyway, really loved drawing, always loved sketching and stuff. Not that I find the time to do it anymore, but so yeah, basically leaving college, I got into kind of kitchen and bathroom design because it was just, it was quite easy for me. It was quite easy to get into, and that was my first experience of being able to actually design by myself and using software. And this was like, oh my god, it's so awful, but like 20 years ago or something.
We're so old.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so started out in kitchen and bathroom design, and kind of it just developed from there. I mean, I have stopped and started along the way, as you know. You've known me long enough now to know that, like, I'll be like, yeah, I'm doing that, and then all of a sudden, like, no, change your plan. I'm going to go and sell cars. I'm going to go and apply to be I think I've told you about when I applied to be a wing walker on the Utterly Butterly aeroplane.
You've never told me about that.
Oh my god. The stuff, honestly, the list of stuff.
Utterly have aeroplanes.
They used to do at flight shows, air shows. They'd have planes that did stunts, and they had people standing on the top of the plane strapped to it. So I applied to be an Utterly Butterly plane acrobat or something. Anyway, it started off in kitchens and bathrooms, and it just evolved, and then, as Hayley mentioned earlier, I decided to do I got a degree in architecture, so I studied. I was a mature student because I did that probably about 8 or 9 years. I probably did graduated about 7 or 8 years ago. And it's just always I think you just know there's something in you. There's always been something in me
It needs to
Not
be
used to
designed.
this.
There it comes.
That is the worst. That's the worst thing I've ever said. Anyway.
Sorry.
Anyway. Right, where was I going with that? Back in the day.
Can we leave that in?
I'm not sure I want. This is the first fucking episode. Anyway,
I'm crying.
So, no, when I was a kid, I used to go. Please stop. It's not even that funny, isn't it? No, when I was a kid, I used to I was drawn towards places that were. I remember going to the beach with my mum or with my dad, and there was old, back in the day when there was old derelict houses, really derelict, falling apart, no floorboards, roof was caved in, and I, as a small child at the beach, would be like, "Can I go in? I really want to go in." There was something about these dilapidated buildings that I wanted to go and explore and look around, which is a bit weird, isn't it? Maybe that's why I end up doing really dark kind of edgy design, because it comes from this kind of concept of really, really early years and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, architecture happened and got my degree there, which was really cool. And then I worked with you, obviously, for quite a few years, and then for my sins, about a couple of years ago, I was like, right, I'm gonna go and set up Rebel. So I set up Rebel, and here I am. Yeah.
So, next question. What is your biggest challenge you face as a designer?
Did I ask you that question?
Yes.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Oh my God. For me, my biggest challenge, I'm going to be really honest, the biggest challenge for me is trying to manage client expectations when it comes to, obviously, you want to create a space and you want to do the best you can possibly do for what they're looking at. So if they come at you with a brief, they have an expectation of what they want, and they want your interpretation of that brief. You want to wow them. You want to absolutely stun them with an incredible design. But there's a really fine line between that and when you're working to budgets. And obviously everything has a budget. Everything. Everyone is, especially in business, so from commercial and residential as well. There is not a never-ending pit of money. If only there was.
And make our life so much easier.
Yeah, right. But the client has to justify every decision that they're making in terms of design, whether it be from a commercial perspective, from operationally, it needs to pay back from a business point of view, or whether it's you're doing your house and you want an extension and you've been saving for years to make it happen, or you've got funds in place to make it happen and you've only got a finite amount of cash. It is really hard, and especially at the moment with the climate, with everything and the cost of cost of living, but also just since COVID, the fact that material and labour and everything is just skyrocketing.
Oh, no, I've had a project this week which is double what
we
expected it to be, and that was 3 years ago we looked at it. And
what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be being a designer is about being clever with design and not having to lower your standards from a design point of view just to make it fit the budget. That for me is my biggest challenge, and trying to explain that to clients and being I'm quite direct about these things. But yeah, that's probably my biggest challenge.
What's your favourite project been so far?
Oh man, that's a really tough one, because obviously I've done stuff with you when I was working with you at Harp, and obviously the Forge kitchen in Ipswich stands out for me massively, because that's a bit of me, isn't it?
Yeah.
That look, and also I think that with that scheme, Grant and Robin were so much fun to work with. I love working with them. They were a really, really great client. That makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think we were kind of a little bit ahead of the game with that with that look, that like it was quite industrial, and we were probably going back like 7 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's still on trend, isn't it, now?
I kind of feel like we were ahead of the game a little bit. I mean, obviously design always works like that anyway, doesn't it? It filters out of London, like it hits London first, and then it takes a few months for it to filter out to the rest of the country and stuff. But so yeah, Forge was cool. Oh man, there's loads. Like Laura and Dan's house. I'm helping with Laura and Dan's house, and I love that because that is my little baby. Like I've worked so closely with a friend of mine, and they've trusted me. They've trusted me with it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm so grateful that they've given me that opportunity to come up with that for them. With their help, obviously. And it's looking amazing. And I can't wait for them to be back in it and living in it and being like, yeah, we did this. Yeah. Too many.
What's your favourite part of your job?
Oh,
you didn't ask me this one, did you?
No, I didn't. I don't know. What's yours?
Mood boards. I love going into the library and going, I forgot about that, and just like putting things together. And like for me, not all designers work this way, because I've worked with loads of designers who've like gone, Hayley, you're doing it backwards. But like I think
I said that to you.
Yeah,
that was
me. Probably.
What are you doing? You're like, this is the way my brain works.
Yeah, I need to do it this way. But I love just putting a mood board together, because for me, I can picture the whole project around that.
You've said that to me before.
So like I can just put it all together and then go, right, I now know what to do. Take my mood board and now I can put it on.
It's not weird, because mine's completely the other way.
Yeah.
I have to have that general arrangement and that spatial layout done, and because that's key for me. And then for me, the next step is, okay, from that point, right, let's develop that and let's start like honing in on small. It's bizarre, isn't it, how it works so differently.
So I literally can't wait. If I get a new project, I can't wait to get in the library.
Yeah.
Like throw everything everywhere.
Yeah. I think for me, in all honesty, my favourite part, I think, for me, if my job would be, and this is a really fine line, because there's balance with this, is when I have to work out, when challenges come up in jobs, when projects come, are through fit out or even through design, and something's not quite working, and I have to really kind of sit and go, right, okay, well, how are we going to deal with this? That sounds awful, doesn't it? Because I know, like, how's that enjoyable? I think it's
you're just really good at fixing.
I think it's enjoyable because it really challenges me. It challenges me. But the fine line is, if a project is constantly one problem after another, at that point I'm like, oh, right, I'm done with this now. Too much. I want the pretty stuff again. But if there's a few bits that we have to overcome, I get a lot out of that, and then it becomes. It kind of compounds the end result. When I get to the end and the project's finished, I'm like, yeah.
Oh man, that's a good
nailed that.
That is a good, like, that's almost like my second. Oh,
I mean,
my favourite part is the end, isn't it? Come on, you're like,
oh, definitely.
Like, once it's all done and you've got it all perfect.
Yeah.
Especially when you design and project manage something, because you've got the control all the way through.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
So yeah, that's a bit about us. Oh my god, that's gone on for longer than I anticipated. And there was a big euphemism in there at the front end. And
sorry.
Yeah.